Paul Venis, people know you. You've kind of came to fruition this year and to a lot of people's attentions for you're going to be playing the part of Lee Duffy.
Yep.
You're going to be releasing your book, A Very South Bank Story. You are in the new Lee Duffy documentary, Too Far Too Soon, which is out 3 weeks today. But not everyone does, people know about the past and the drugs and the issues you've overcame. But I don't think, because it's probably not a popular sport, K1. Funny enough, I was talking to Alex Reid the other month, and he said, is that the kid from up north? So he'd heard of you. But I don't know what K1 is to MMA, but you were, I suppose, I've read a lot of the forums, and you were somewhat of a bit of a legend in the sport. What made you get into that sport from day one?
When I got out of prison.
What year was that?
I've been out now, what? 8 years? 7, 8 years? Been out of prison. Maybe it's a bit longer. So
you're 35 now, so says you were like 27 or something when you decided to take up this sport.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. What happened was, there was a gym opened around the corner called Impact Martial Arts, and a good friend of the family's, and obviously one of my good friends as well, Nicky Corson, was his cousin or his relation, at the gym, Impact Martial Arts, and he was like, look, why don't you just go, keep up trouble and stuff like that, do you know what I mean? And I knew the guy who owned it. He's called Alan Chapman, he was a lovely lad, good coach, good kickboxer himself, British level and all that. So he says, look, just come. And I said, I don't have no money to join on that. He went, don't worry about it. So I was going and training.
So you literally got out of prison, you were on the bones of your ass?
Oh yeah, I was on the fucking bones of my ass. But like, before I went to prison, money wasn't an issue. Money, drugs, nothing was an issue, do you know what I mean? So I could get it whenever I wanted, however I wanted, do you know what I mean? So, but when I didn't want to go back to that life, do you know what I mean? I just didn't want to go back to that. So I started training in the gym, and I loved it. I loved it, and to be fair, it was water off a duck's back for me. I was like, it was what I was meant to do, I believe. Like,
because you'd had a couple of unlicensed boxing, and when I watch your boxing fights, Gary Fairby said something to me the other week, and I thought, you bang on. He said something, but I was thinking, you can watch you've obviously got like a one-punch knockout power in each hand, but to me, you were very raw. You were technically, you weren't. So
no,
No,
I get what you say. See, technically, nothing. I had nothing, but I was a fighter. I went straight from. See, I know street fighters who you get them in the ring, they start doing circles when you punch them and stuff. They don't have a clue. You know what I mean? There might be somebody on them streets, but when they get in there in the gyms and that, it's a fucking different ball game. But there was something in me that when I got punched, I didn't panic. I remember I got a coach coming in the corner after one of my fights, and you got to remember I was doing 2 or 3 days on the pads, and that was it. No sparring, no fighting, no nothing. I was just getting in them rings and fighting. And one of the coaches come in and he went, where do you box out of, son? I said, out my bedroom. He went, what? He went, what do you mean? I went, I watch fucking DVDs and that's it. I don't box, mate. He was like, who the fuck's taught you how to do that? I went, what do you mean? He went, I've never seen anyone get punched and stay calm. That's got to be taught. That takes practice. And I was like, I don't know. Because when I was getting it, I didn't panic. I just stayed calm. It was like I was using my face as a defence. Do you know what I mean? Boom, boom. And I kind of liked it, because when I was getting it, I had this overwhelming confidence that no one would hurt me, and it was just like, oh, come on. And that's all I had though, and a good fucking bat. That was it. And you got to remember, when I was fighting or unlicensed boxing, it was just people.
How many of them did you have?
I'm not sure, 10 or something like that.
How many did you win?
All of them, never lost.
How many did you knock out?
All of them apart from Gary Fairby.
Jesus, so you literally were like Gerald McClellan.
Yeah, I sparked everyone, but like, I remember, this is why I always say Gary taught me an important lesson, because when you're getting in there and you're just fucking steamrolling, everyone is going wallop, and when you're hitting them and they're fucking crumbling. And when I got in with Gary, who was a boxer, and I steamrolled, he caught me with a belt.
He was an ex-pro, wasn't he?
Yeah, but he caught me with a few belters first. But like, again, just snapped me head back and just going, walking forward. And you could see, like, I I don't know if it happened with Gary, but you could see the thing, fucking hell. And when he hit you with a couple of shots and think, fucking hell, he's still coming. And then if I never dropped Gary in the rounds, he'd have probably beat me, Gary. Because I've dropped him, body shots, when I hit him, he felt it. And that's the only way that's the only way I beat Gary. But
Gary, did he basically make you sit up and think?
When I've left that fight, after that fight.
Taught you a lot?
Yeah, I thought, fucking hell. I start training, do you know what I mean? So I went to Phil Thomas's for a while. And I'd done about 3 or 4 months in Phil Thomas's and learned the basics. Little parry, pop, little parry, step off the centre line. Stop using your fucking head as defence.
Yeah.
You know, shit like that. And then I fought for the Britain's hardest Dorman title. After 3 months of training, boxing. And I thought a kid who was very well known, a good fighter. Gary will tell you. Wes Smith.
Yeah.
I boxed. He was a tough man, boxing in the army.
It's in the book. You won that, didn't you?
Yeah, he bangs hard. He was a tough man, do you know what I mean? I fucking steamrolled him. Absolutely demolished him in a minute, do you know what I mean? I think he was a bit...
So you were basically this young kid from South Bank knocking everyone out, which is... That's something people have heard a lot before in the past. But I'm not going on about Lee Duffy. But so anyway, but what made you... Hang on, so you're in boxing, pugilism.
What happened after that is, not long after the Wes Smith, I went to prison. Then when I got out of prison, this is when I just walked into this gym where people were fucking egg kicking and doing teeps and leg kicks and this, that, the other. And I thought, fucking hell, what's this? And I couldn't get next to these kids. It was like a fight game. It evolved in my head. People were gone from Queensberry Rolls to boxing to like these legs fucking flying from everywhere and a leg kick and all that. And I quickly adapted to it. And I tell you now, I fucking loved it. Like, I loved it. I've always loved boxing, but this K1 and mixed martial arts is it's just like evolved. It's evolved. Do you know what I mean? To the point where, like, I know now what I know about K1 and kickboxing. Like, I just seen for what it was. I had little young kids, fucking 9, 10 stone, running rings around me, kicking my legs, and you couldn't get next to them.
So, I've always been brought up with the fact that there's more skill in boxing. Is that not right?
This is how I explain it, right? This is how I'm going to explain it. And if Anthony Joshua, wherever he sees this video, don't come up for me, big man. But listen, I could fight Anthony Joshua on the field with a leg kick. That's how confident I am in my K1. And he's going to beat me 10 times out of 10 in a boxing fight. But see on the field, mixed martial arts, K1, they'll always win. An average K1 fighter will always beat an excellent... McGregor went 9 rounds with Mayweather. You see, if he was in a cage or a kickboxing fight, how long do you think he'd last? He'd last 30 seconds. It says on. So that's... Liam Madison is a well-renowned Thai fighter, a K1 fighter now. He said, you can recover from a leg kick. No, you can recover from a punch in 10 seconds, depending on how fit you are. Take you 2 or 3 weeks to recover from a leg kick.
Really?
1,000,000%. 100,000,000%.
Did you ever get hurt though?
Legs, yeah. Leg-wise, yeah. Like, I remember Cal Hewitt kicking me about 3 or 4 times in the legs. And he was a monstrous of a man, by the way. And he kicked me 3 or 4 times in the legs. That was in the first round. I knocked him up the second round. After that, I couldn't walk. After that fight the next day, I couldn't hardly walk for about 3 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks. It's like your muscle is internally bruised. You can never condition them either. All you can do is just get used to them. They become like lead.
Here's a question for you, right? One of my favourite films as a kid was Kickboxer. And you see these Thai people kicking trees, the shins.
That's 1,000,000%, that's what they do. What happens is, see your shin bone. When your shin bone down the centre has nerves across it, has nerves across the bone.
So they get killed.
So it hurts. So what you do is, you start off with towels, with knots in, walloping them. And what it does is, it bruises your shins and kills all the nerves. Then after about a month of doing that, you start hitting them with a bit harder. I mean, I had 2v2s, clonking them.
Jesus
clonking my shins. And what it does is also puts little tiny fractures in your bone. And when the fractures heal, they kill the nerves, but they grow. It's like a thicker bone, like a thicker marrow across your shin. So they just become solid. So when you check a kick, because that's the only way to defend a leg kick. You get a leg kick. When you check it, it still hurts you. But it hurt them more. But if your shins aren't conditioned, you won't be able to check a kick. Because it's shin on shin. When you're playing football and you bang shins, it fucking hurts, doesn't it? Well, imagine checking a shin kick. It hurts. I remember my first kick, man. My first fight, I won by leg kicks. I stopped the lad by leg kicks. I had welts on my shin, lumps and bruises on my shins. I was like, fucking hell. And I won the fight, easy. I couldn't move for about 2 weeks.
So how many bouts in total did you have as a K1 career?
30, including the boxing fights, I had 31, 32 fights. The 32 fights I had.
And you won every one, knocked out everyone apart from Gary Fairby, who's playing Viv Graham. But you know what? Obviously you're a big lad, but as a heavyweight, Paul, you're not. So, you know, you've got all these people now 6'8", 6'9". You must have been tiny in that division, were you?
I was. I mean, truthfully, I struggled staying above the heavyweight.
Couldn't you have fought like cruiserweight or something?
Probably, yeah. But I was perfect for the heavyweight because I banged hard. And I was very durable. I was very, very durable.
Did you? I know you said you had a good chin in that, but was there ever a time? I remember boxing as a kid, and you literally you get it, and you can smell your own blood. And
I got flashed by one person.
But you never ever got hurt.
No.
Who was that one person?
James Cannon.
Right.
And I remember that because it was I was fighting on the night. I was fighting in a tournament, a 6-man competition. There was a few of us all fighting, and he was a favourite to win it. And I drew him first, but no one knew who I was. I only had 6 K1 fights at the time. So I was just like a little black sheep coming into the tournament right at the last minute, but I was fit as a fiddle, by the way. I was ready. And I fought this James Cannon. He had arms like an orangutan. And he was tall. I got a picture took with him. He dwarfs me.
Is that the one who tapped on you and went, "Good luck, little man"?
No. That was a different guy.
Right.
But this James Cannon was a big Geordie, favourite to win it. Good, lovely lad he was, by the way. I had a good crack with him afterwards. He was a lovely lad. And he had arms like an orangutan, and obviously I'm a bit short. So when I was trying to move, because I just walked forward me, when I was trying to catch him, he'd be hitting me. Then obviously I was going to take a couple to land my one. But every time, because he was hitting me from that distance there, bang, every time I swung, I was like in fresh air. So I was like, fucking hell. So I had to take a few steps back to come forward, not to draw him in. And I remember him catching me a couple of times and going flash. And I but like still stood there and thinking, I'm not hurting, but that's the first time I've ever experienced that. You know, it's not like as if your lights go out, but you just go boom.
Yeah. And
it's weird, and I thought, oh, that's the first time I've experienced that.
So what did you do in the game? So we're talking, tell me the titles you won in order.
North East Combat Challenge. Then I won English ISK. I won English ISK. Then I won an English just English belt in Scotland, in Motherwell. I fought like called Alan Drain. And then I won the WSK British title, which was massive, by the way. That's what controlled the rankings in Britain. I won that one. Then I won ICO European title against Chris Cooper, legend in the K1 British K1 game. He was an absolute legend, man. And then I won the ICO World Champion.
Did you retire after you won the world title, or did you defend it?
Well, I wasn't looking to retire, to be fair. I mean, I was having problems with my back and my hands and stuff. And
your missus didn't like it, did she?
No, I mean, it wasn't that she didn't like it. She never ever told me that she didn't like it because she was my biggest. She was the main person in my life. I couldn't have had. She had to be there.
Yeah.
She had to be at my fight. She had to be there. It wouldn't have been. She was the only voice I ever heard.
Yeah.
In the crowds, like there was hundreds and hundreds of people watching. I only ever heard her, and it was weird because without her, it wouldn't have happened. I needed her support. You know what I mean? And she was my dietitian. She was my biggest fan. She's
your rock, really.
Yeah. She was everything. And the thing is, when my mind started switching a little bit because I become a Christian and. I was having problems with my back, my hands and stuff, and then I was getting disheartened by the rankings because the guy who was number one had only been beat by me, and he was getting all the big fights, and I was pushing for him, and it was like...
Was there big money in that game?
Yeah, of course it was, yeah. I was making decent money, to be fair. I was travelling the world. Do you know what I'm saying? And it was like... It was an excellent career. It was one of the best things. It was, to be fair, when I look at K1 and what I've done for my life, my kids being born and my family... in K1, do you know what I mean? I just think it's right up there with the best things I've ever done.
So why is it right? The only reason I even know what it is because of you. And why is it not like a household sport?
It is now. If you don't know K1, you're an absolute caveman. Because Glory K1 is absolutely massive. It's like just as big as UFC. It's absolutely huge. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of people, see when you mention kickboxing, I think of the daft trousers and pads, and flippy flappy fucking daft point scoring, but it's still a good sport to be fair, because I had a couple of kickboxing fights, but the K1 is raw. You've got tiny shorts on and that's it. 10-ounce gloves, elbows, knees, spinning back fists. It's scored exactly the same way as boxing is. Do you know what I'm saying? And I just think, I was made for that shit, me. Everyone, when you walked in gyms, when I was going down London and Cardiff and places like that to Spa, it was like fully mixed martial arts gyms. People were doing grappling, people were doing Muay Thai, people doing all this other combat sports. And when you go in and you say, oh, what sport are you doing? He was like K1, and they all look at you like you're a lunatic, because that's what K1 is. It's one of the brutalest sports in the world. Do you know what I mean? And it's massive now. Multi-million pounds like contracts now for Glory K1, and that's one of the reasons why I was stopping, because I was the only undefeated heavyweight in Britain, and yet.
How old were you when you retired?
Been retired now about three years.
So like you were 32 last week, so you were 32, and do you ever see a comeback coming?
Always think about comeback. Always.
Always. But you've got the stuff on with the movies, the books, the documentaries, the films.
Well, it's funny you mention that, Jamie, because I was back in training at the beginning of this year before I got the phone call for this film, and I was looking to fight me this year. I was probably going to fighting for Gary Bell, contender, who was probably the best coach in the UK at the moment. So I was looking to.
So do you know what? Everyone knows of Paul Venis. The basically, you know, you've dipped your toe in more than dipped your toe. You jumped in head first with drugs and all that. You're a world champion with what you did, but do you ever think, imagine what you could have done if you'd lived the life of a monk?
Yeah.
You know, because one story, I know, I mean, you've told me, and it's, listen.
You mean by monk, you mean like drug-free, straight as a die, and all that stuff?
Yeah.
Of course I do, yeah. Of course
you know, one friend we know was like, Venna, I'm trying to get hold of you, where have you been? And you were like, I've been in a crack house for a few days, as if it was like having a cup of tea. Do you know what I mean? But you achieved so much, and listen, I'm clued up on sports, and you know, Conor his car for a world title. Jonathan Woodgate, as I said the other day, was world class player for Real Madrid, but I can't think of any really true world class athletes from Middlesbrough. You know, Paul Truscott won the Commonwealth. You know, we've got couple of decent footballers and that, but there's not where you were at the pinnacle.
Going back to that, if I was living like a monk, let me tell you something now. You might not believe it by looking at me, but I'd probably be a professional footballer.
Yeah, let's talk about that, right? How good were you as a footballer?
It's mad because it's like people look at me and think I'm fucking 18 stone, 19 stone, and like there's no way. And I've always been big, always. But yeah, I believe whenever I played football locally, I was always the best player on that pitch.
I read something the other week, must have got off the internet archives, that it said if Paul Venis plays well, the whole team plays well, and Michael Kell said, Jamie, he was unbelievable.
Tell you what, I was centre midfield, yeah, and to look at me, what made it mad, because like I used to have managers off the opposite team coming and always saying, fucking hell, some feet on you there, big lad, quite quick there, big lad, you know.
So you were fast?
Yeah, because of the shock. The shock on him, because I'd looked like this big dopey thing in the centre midfield, and just like everyone because I was a hard player, like I used to get angry and I played better because I would smash you. I'd purposely slow down to smash you, of course I would. That was what my game was about.
So what kind of player were you? Like a Roy Keane,
no,
like a Graham
Paul Gascoigne.
Paul Gascoigne, like natural flair.
Paul Gascoigne, best footballer ever living on this earth for me. That's my opinion.
In my lifetime, I would agree with that. Yeah.
So I based my game around him. I was obsessed with him as a kid. My dad got me a video player when I was a kid called All the Best Paul. It was on my birthday. Yeah. And I watched that every night for about 5 years, 6 years. Every night.
Did you really?
Every night.
So you've done the Cruyff turn and all that?
I've done everything. Yeah. See, so when I was in that centre midfield, that's what it was always Paul Gascoigne, the flair, the beating 2 or 3 players, set someone up, go for goal. That's what I was all about. But then people see me, they just thought he was going to be slumbered in that centre midfield, just trying to smash people. But they got a shock. They got the shock of their lives. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's, see, when I was at Hartlepool and playing for decent clubs and that, the reason why I was getting released was because of my addictive side of my addictive personality.
Is that why you didn't make it as a footballer?
Probably, yeah.
So when did you get released? 17?
No, At 15, I got released from Hartlepool, and then I went and played for Grimsby for a few games. I had a couple of daft scouts watching us but by the time I'd been...
Grimsby first team?
Yeah.
Wow.
By the time I got released from Hartlepool, my head was gone then. I mean, Sammy was pregnant. My life was going a bit sour. So I was getting involved in a bit of shit. I was 16 now, smoking weed, was doing all that stuff. And I was still playing decent levels. I'm going to play for Grimsby for a few games. My debut come on for Grimsby against Hull. I scored 2 goals against Hull. I come on at half time. Scored a free
for the first team?
Yeah.
Wow.
For the first team, and then I slowly just thought, can't be asked.
Yeah.
Then I went and played semi-pro for like Mask, Gisbert. Whoa! Dave's picking them up. Yeah, it's all right. Ring the school, let them know. What we saying there?
Right, yeah. Do you know, I'm going to keep this in just because it's funny. I might get my boss to edit it out. What was I going to say? So football. Do you know what though? The thing is, we're doing a book, right, called A Very South Bank Story, which is you growing up in South Bank, hearing this story, Lee Duffy, all the tales in South Bank. Paul Truscott's doing the forward, who was the Commonwealth champion. But that's 70% Lee Duffy, right? But the day will come when you do your book, right, and one young kid could read it and change it. What would you say to if you could meet the Paul Venis who was 16 now when you're 35, because you just thought it was drugs, girls, all these kind of glamorous things that you thought, which got you into shit, which got you into a prison cell. Do you look back and regret it and think, because you're a natural, you were a natural what you did, because you even said to me, when you were world champion, you smoked every day. That doesn't happen.
Do you know what it is? If I could go back, if I was talking to Paul Venis who was 16, I would drag him to win or fellowship or God. Because like I believe that I've always said it, what's meant for you won't go around you, but it's how you deal with them things. Whatever comes to you head on, that's how you deal with them. I failed. I chose to, whatever come at me, I failed big time. Yeah. Because I just went bosh, tablets, drink.
But you went really crazy.
Oh yeah, I went mental. But what I believe in is this type of stuff, the fellowships that I got involved in and the Christianity and my faith and how I am today should be taught.
Yeah. Because, do you know something?
Should be taught in schools, should be taught.
You told me a story the other day and I had to leave it out because it's not for this book. And I've had to leave a lot of stuff out, Paul, because it's for another time.
Yeah.
But you told me a story and you said, you know what? Before I'd go out, I'd do an eighth, which is, for anyone who doesn't know, it's 3.5 grams. And then you get change and then you jump in the bath and then you get change again. And your lass would look at you and think, what are you doing? And you'd be a sweating mess and you'd have the music. I'd
have put 4 t-shirts.
That was before you went out.
I'd have been 18, 19, getting dressed to go out. Get your gear, my ritual was 10 Zoppy cologne, bang, in the kitchen when I come home. 8 ball. By the time while I'm getting dressed, I'll have sniffed that 8 ball.
That's incredible.
Within 45 minutes to an hour. And I put 4 different t-shirts on, 5 different pairs of boxers on, and I'd have been in the shower twice.
Just every week?
Every weekend. And my lass would be looking at me going, what the hell are you doing? Why have you sniffed all that straight away? And I'd be like, shut up. And then I'd end up taking half the packet of Zoppies before I went out to calm myself down, to bring myself back level. And then as I get to my pals, I'll be going, there's another 8 ball. And then that'll be done halfway through the night. Then I'll be stuck in someone's kitchen at 2 o'clock in the morning, sniffing another fucking 8
shadow boxing and all that.
Yeah, top off, fucking jumping about like Raji.
But you know what? It is, although I can't help but kind of smile and I'm not glorifying it but you know what? When the time's right, when you've been in the film and a year or 2 after, you're going to make one unbelievable book. But you know why? Because there's kids out there, right? And it's like, I know I was talking to someone from December, January, February this year in Middlesbrough, there was 28 suicides. I know a couple of them. Sambo, God rest him. And he said and I believe, right, Middlesbrough was in that dark place because everyone was battering cocaine.
Yeah.
And you've lived through it, and it's just, people think it's glamorous.
I walked into a fellowship, right, when I was, 18, 19, getting dragged, and sitting there listening to these people.
Laughing
and giggling, struggling around food, doing this, doing that, and I'm thinking, I'm here, fucking can't get off the pipe and coke. You're just talking about fucking food.
Yeah.
But then one guy shared and he was like, look, most days I don't want to be here no more. And no one went, oh, what's he saying? You all just went, yeah. I nodded and I thought, well, that was weird. Because you tell a normal person that you fucking don't want to be here no more, you constantly think about killing yourself on a daily basis, because that's where I was. Because I didn't see a way out of my drug taking and the lifestyle I was living.
Did you get the point on the crack where you were carpet crawling and all that?
Yeah. I mean, some fucking horrendous stuff, mate. Horrendous stuff. That keeps me awake sometimes. You know, when I think about it and I cringe in my skin and I think, fucking hell. But, like, I was in this fellowship and they were talking about, like, not wanting to be here, thinking about death, thinking about ending it and all that stuff, didn't see a way out. And it was like the norm. It was like the normal. And when I knew I was at home, I knew this is where I needed to be. Because if people are thinking like me and not fucking judging me, it's like, because I remember, sometimes even today, if someone popped my ear up and seen what I was thinking, sometimes on a daily basis, they'd run a mouth. They wouldn't speak to me. But I heard someone in the fellowship say, thank God you ain't your thinking, Paul. Because you're dead once you're dead. I thought, fucking hell.
I was talking to Michael the other week, and he said, I remember Paul just walking up and down the road in a pair of shorts, walking back and forth, walking in the barbers. I don't remember this. And then he said, he'd come in the bar, and then you just walked out, and it was like people could see your fall, your decline. Do you know what I mean? And
it was horrendous. It's like I would go in the hairdressers and demand haircuts, and they'd have to give me haircuts for now. I'm bringing the lads as well. I want an haircut for now. I was doing that, not paying
taxi drivers and all that.
Yeah, I was doing it all, do you know what I mean? And it was like, it was mad, because like I went from a very respectful Andy lad who was making a reputation for himself just to like wallop, and in a very vulnerable place where people will come and out the woodwork and try and on the walls and fucking, which to be fair was my own fault, you know what I mean? Because I was what I was, you know what I mean? I was a menace to society at the time, but then when I'd become this fucking menace to society with a fucking very bad drug problem, people weren't standing for it, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And the people you wiped the floor with the years before, you were having 50-50 battles with?
Yeah, I was struggling with.
No.
But going back to that where you said, look, the regrets and all that stuff, do you know what, Jamie? It's like, I'll say it again, Joe, like, if I never went through that now, would I be sat here like I always am now? See, them life experiences that I've got now, I don't regret.
Yeah.
I don't regret at all, because I know...
You're taking them in prison.
Well, listen, I know this, if one of my kids, because I know this addiction runs in the family, it's a mental issue that we're born with.
Hereditary.
Yeah, that we're born with. I mean, Russell Brand's done all the tests.
Yeah.
Bill made a documentary about it.
I watch him often.
We're born this way. Addicts are born that way. OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. But mine is to change the way I feel. Not to clean, not to over up, not to do any of that. Mine's just to change the way I feel.
And body dysmorphia and all that.
Everything I do is to addiction. But I'm at a place in my life where I've got enough in my toolbox to recognise when I'm at... I mean, you want to see my trainer collection, Jamie? I was going fucking mental, buying trainers, because it made me feel good to open a fresh pair. Ooh, I've got fucking boxes and boxes and boxes of trainers I'll probably never wear. Do you know what I mean? It's ridiculous. But
James English said that. He said, everyone, you're seeking for everything, you're seeking for absolute, you're seeking to be brilliant. And do you know what? It's inside. And James said, the more attention I get now, the more I just want to be spiritual. And, maybe you might be my gift to the world next year, but when your books come out, everyone will be, maybe I had the trolls this morning on the way here. Do you know what I mean? And you're going to get that bad, and it doesn't matter because you big hard Paul Venis who can never fight. This is Barney Rubble. This is Frank Bruno 27. It's utter nonsense.
Listen, mate. After what I've conquered in my life,
I
don't think any fucking keyboard warrior or troll is going to absolutely bother me whatsoever. If anything, it'll entertain me for my day.
Yeah. You got one last week, didn't you?
Yeah. And I just entertained it. Do you know what I mean? It was like, in fact, I was in the caravan. I was away with my family, a little bit bored, so I entertained him for a bit. Yeah. And then at the end, I was like, God bless mate, take care, mate, only bit of banter. Yeah. And he just fired a load of bullshit and dog shit at me. Do you know
And then
what I
what
mean?
did he say the next day when he Googled you?
Sorry, mate.
So, no, do you know what, Paul? That's been brilliant. And listen, I'm really looking forward to, we're going to release a very South Bank story, January the 8th, 2021. You are in the Lee Duffy Too Far Too Soon film, which is Black Cat Productions,
Yeah.
3 weeks today. You are going to be playing Lee Duffy in the Sayers film, Gary Fraser, director, 2-time BAFTA winning, and then we'll do your book, and then and listen, we're talking to a guy from Mouse. Do you know how that come about? He watched you, right? He said, I remember Paul being in there, and he said, I watched you, and I said, unbelievable difference, and what all the shit you've done in your life now. It's like the Shane Taylor, what a powerful, thought-provoking. I know you and Shane are really close.
Yeah.
And you can make a difference. And I think this is what you want to do now, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it is. I mean, look at what changed me. A man called Shane Taylor. His story touched me, and I knew only God could change a man like that. And I knew Shane. I knew stories of him. And I met him. I'd run into him and all that stuff. Listen, if I tell my story, if my story goes out to 10 people, and one comes to God, or one changes his life, or one joins the fellowship, that's God's job done, innit? Do you know what I'm saying?
It's been worth it, yeah. So more to come from Paul Venis. Keep following the channel. Click down and subscribe to War Cry Publishing. Thanks for your time, Paul.
Cheers.